Okay, hello. You're welcome to today's class. Today we'll be learning how to tell time. Before we begin, let me ask you a question. When do you come back from school? 3:30? 2:30? What about the time you eat breakfast? And do you also know the time you go to bed? It is necessary to know the time we do all of these things so that we'll do the right thing at the right time. Today's lesson will teach you how to read time using the analog clock. Before we continue, let me tell you things you need to know about time. Time is measured in seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, or years. 60 seconds make 1 minute. 60 minutes make 1 hour. 24 hours make 1 day. And 7 days make 1 week. 52 weeks make 1 year. 10 years make 1 decade. 100 years make 1 century. Now, since we are using an analog clock to teach time today, I want to take time to explain some of the parts of the analog clock to you. Now let's look at parts of the analog clock. The front is called the face of the clock, and it tells time in 3 units, in seconds, in hours, and in minutes. It has 3 pointers we call the hands. This thin one is called the second hand, the long one is called the long hand, and the short one is called the short hand. The second hand tells us how many seconds has just passed. It moves around the clock 60 times. The long hand tells time in minutes. Wherever it points, it tells us how many minutes passed or how many minutes to a particular hour. While the short one tells us the number of hours. Now let me quickly explain to you parts of the analog clock. Now, this clock is divided into 12 hours. Between number 12 to 1 is 5 minutes. Between 1 to 2 is another 5 minutes. So you skip count in fives. So from 12 to 1 is 5, 1 to 2 is another 5, 2 to 3 is 5. So you take it round. So you count from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and you get back to 12 again. This clock is divided into 60 small spaces. Each of them indicates 1 minute. So wherever the minute hand points it, it tells you how many minutes, starting from 0. So for example, if the minute hand points number 2, that is 10 minutes away from 12. The shorthand indicates the number of hours. So the steps required to telling time is, number 1, you look at the shorthand. In this example, the shorthand is pointing at 8 and the longhand is pointing at 10. This tells us that it is 10 minutes past 8. Take note that the right hand of the clock tells us past, while the left hand tells us to. When the long hand is pointing 3, we say it is 15 minutes past a particular number. So in case the short hand is pointing at 9 and the long hand is pointing 3, we say it is 15 minutes past 9. Another word for it is quarter past. Take note also that when the long hand is pointing 6, we say it is half past. So if the short hand is in between 7 and 8, we say, and the long hand is pointing 6, we say it is 7:30 or half past 7. When the long hand is pointing 9, we say it is quarter to or 15 minutes to a particular number. So if the short hand is at this place and the long hand is pointing 9, we say it is 15 minutes to 5. Now we're moving to telling time to the nearest 1 minute. Now between each number there are 5 minutes. So from 12 to 1 we have 5 minutes there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like we said earlier on, the shorthand indicates the hour. If the shorthand is pointing between 4 and 5 and the longhand is in this place, you count all the way from 12. How many minutes is that? So between 12 and 1 we said is 5 minutes, so this is 5, 10. Then you count by ones. So we have 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is 30 minutes past 4. Let's take one more example. If the shorthand is between 7 and 8 and the long one is at this place, you are counting how many minutes is left before it gets to the next hour. So we have, this shows that we have 10 minutes from here, and how many more? That is 2 more, so that's 12 minutes. So this is 12 minutes to 8. That's how we count time to the nearest 1 minute, knowing that each number has 5 minutes in between them, and whenever it exceeds them, we count by ones. So take these ones and practice on your own.